Chapter 12 of The Wondersmith and His Son, A Tale from the Golden Childhood of the World. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Wondersmith and His Son, A Tale from the Golden Childhood of the World, by Ella Young. The Gubbaun Saor's Feast. When the Gubbaun Saor and his son set foot again in Ireland, the earth was glad at their coming. A wave in the north reared itself and fell with the sound of clangorous bells and loud-voiced trumpets. A wave in the east reared itself and fell with a sound of clashing cymbals and shrill-voiced flutes. A wave in the south reared itself and fell with the sound of sweet singing voices mingling with and overmastering the sound of timpan and cruet and bell branch. And all along the islands of the west and the rocky inlets went a singing, reedy whisper. Manana-ao, mamana-ao. The rhythm of that well-beginning music was a pulse of joy in the flowering grasses. The strong oaks knew it. The white bulls of the forest moved to it, tossing their moon-curved horns. It set the seahawks sliding down the wind, stooping in circles. It was a hand-clapping and a shout of laughter in the mountain torrents. A noble land and a good is Ireland, said the Gubbaun. My 1,000 blessings on it. Iona made for the great feast of welcome for them. From the 4 corners of the world folk came to the feast. Some that has praised-mouthed names, and a proud lineage, and some that had a virtue in them of such a strange and subtle essence that escaped a clamorous recognition. Harpers came, and sweet-voiced women, and men of learning. King's son came to it, riding upon white stallions, with bells and apples of gold on their bridle reins, and the tails and manes of the stallions dyed a crimson purple. The workers in brass and copper, the proud makers of beautiful things, came to it, and simple poor folk came with goodwill in their hearts. The chief poet of Ireland came, with 30 princes in his train, a slender dark-visaged man, his hair wound about and bound with twists of gold, his singing robe on his shoulders that only the chief poet might wear. Curiously wrought it was of the feathers of bright-colored birds. There was a king from the north, blue-eyed and huge of limb, he that was lord of dragon-prowed ships. There was a queen from the south, a woman that many poets had loved. She had a face radiant and pale like magnolia blossom, and the eyes the color of the sky when the dusk empurples it. And everywhere she was the one rose of delight. And there came from the fairy hills 3 cupbearers, clad in raiment redder than carbuncle. So beautiful it was a heartache to look upon them. They had unwithering youth, beautiful as the light behind the sea wave, beautiful as the apple bough beyond our reach. Light-hearted and impish, in their companies and multitudes, the Sheoga came. They, the small folk of the mountain and the bogland, the good people, who put mortals astray at the fading of the light, or, mindful of new querned meal heaped in porringers for them, and oblations of sweet milk, conduct wayfarers by sure paths across the marshes and craggy sea-frowning precipice. With laughter the Sheoga came. They joined hands and danced around the house. Iona sent them out a silver bowl, brimmed with wine. Fast as they emptied it, it filled itself again. From hand to hand, from lip to lip they passed it. Dancing, their laughter rang like silver bells about the house. Within the Gubbaun's house, the candles of a king's feast were lighted. The Jinn was there. He had measured the length of his ears by the height of the door lintel. The great vizier was there, uncobwebbed of the treasure chest. Baylor's son was there, splendid in his robes of embassy. The hound Felinis was there, and a phoenix bird that came out of Tirnagal. The feast began, He went from lavishness to lavishness. It was jeweled with strangeness, as a dagger hilt is crusted with gems. Toward the close, the Gubbaun raised a great cup of crystal, in his hands. The wine in it shone like a ruby. It was wine of Moimel. "Drink," he cried. "Let each one drink to the measure of his thirst. The cup is a well of plenty. It renews itself." The cup went from guest to guest, and each one that held that marvel in his hands drank to the thing he desired to honor. When the cup came to Baelor's son, he rose up and said, "To Baelor the munificent, and to the noble Dune that is a building." The cup flew into 1,000 splinters. The wine ran down like blood. "Dragon of death," cried the Baelor son, "what evil omen is this?" The venom of untruth has shattered the cup," said the Gubbaun. "Baelor's munificence was treachery. But not for this thing shall the cup be destroyed." He gathered the fragments in his hand. "Let truth make it whole. Baelor plotted my death and the death of my son when the Dune was finished." The cup became whole in the Gubbaun's hand. "But," said Baelor's son, "in the presence of lords and chiefs of the Fomor, you named the tool. You gave the master word." "I named my tool," said the Gubbaun, "the crooked against crookedness, the twist against a twist, and the twist against treachery. That tool I needed, that tool my hands can handle now. I drink to the time when Baelor will know that gods are not jealous of godhead." The Gubbaun drank till not a drop remained in the cup. "Tell Baelor," he said, "that the envious heart drips poison on its own wounds, but munificence begets munificence. His mind imagined a palace. Let him build it. He has the multitudinous centuries for leisure. But this one night is ours for joy and song. Let music sound. Let the jugglers now toss up the glittering balls." Tulkinna, the peerless one, stepped forward. He had 9 golden apples and 9 feathers of white silver and 9 discs of fine ruby. He tossed them up. They leapt like a plume of sea spray. They shone like world-stirred flame. They whirled like leaves rising and falling. He wove them into patterns. They danced like gauze-winged flies on a summer's eve. They gyrated like motes of dust. They tangled the mind in a web of light and darkness till at last it seemed that Tulkinna was tossing the stars. Then came a burst of light-hearted music. The Jinn danced with the phoenix bird. Iona danced with Baelor's son. The chief vizier danced with a woman out of Tir Nagog. The Gubbaun Saor's son danced with the queen from the south. The sun and the moon, the stars and constellations, danced to the measure of that dancing. The memory of it was honey in the minds of poets for 1,000 years. For 1,000 years it was riotously heady mead. It was wine in the veins of warriors. And to this hour it is laughter in the heart of the hills. End of section 12.